Welcome to Deliberately Creative. I'm Stephanie and I'm here to welcome you to episode number 21. This time we're going to do Red Jasper. This was a request from one of our community members, and if you have any ideas or suggestions for stones that you would like me to try, go ahead and request it down in the comment section. Let's get started. First, I'm going to show you the difference between using Crayolas and Prismacolors. I've swatched out the colors in Crayola. If I were to use Crayola, I would use navy, mahogany, orange red, red, mango, and white. And that would give me this kind of a stone right here. And this is really pretty. I'm actually very pleased with how that turned out. If I only had Crayolas, I would be happy with that. I'm going to use my Prismacolors because I have them. And in Prismacolors, I use Indigo, Tuscan Red, Carmine, Scarlet Lake, Pale Vermilion, Spanish Orange, and White. And there's also a white gel pen here. And if you look at that, that's a really pretty stone too. And if you put them side by side, they actually compare very favorably to each other. I would be pleased and happy and proud to show either one of these to anyone, as I'm showing them to you right now. And we're going to be doing just the simple type of doodle around the outside of it. So this will all be together in one episode. And I am using, to start off with, the Spanish Orange. And I'm just drawing a rough oval type shape. Now I'm going to try and make sure that I stay on screen the entire time. And I'm going to give it a base color of the Spanish Orange. Spanish Orange is a very pretty golden yellow color with a little tiny bit of an orange cast to it. It's a very warm color. Red Jasper is a very interesting stone. Actually, any kind of jasper, I think, is really interesting. It's a type of quartz chalcedony, which is basically an aggregate type stone. It's a few different things all together. There's silica, which is sand. There's quartz. And then other things, sediments with minerals in them, will settle in to the different types of jaspers, and that's how you get different colors. It's the different minerals and sediments that end up in it. Very few jaspers are actually one color. So just because I'm calling this red jasper, it isn't just red. There's a lot of different colors involved in this type of a stone. Now I've picked up the Carmine red, and I'm just gonna give it a bit of Carmine red here and there. These first few layers are a little more scratchy looking, they are kind of scratchy looking. They're a little less blended because I'm doing multiple layers. And I am just laying down this color just to get some color on here. These colors will be moving around a little bit. I will use a colorless blender also, and I will use some white for moving colors around. And I'm not worrying about growing my stone right now. It's sort of growing organically. As I color along, it just sort of, my pencil lines end up growing. They end up going outside the main focus of the stone. That's okay. It's just adjusting. It's just adjusting the size. And now I'm going to pick up the pale vermilion, and I'm going to put some of that in here. Jaspers are many colors all in one. If you find a pure red jasper that is all one color, that's actually worth a little bit of money. It's actually worth a bit of money. I don't know where you would go and sell it, but from what I've been doing on my research, those are more rare and they're more expensive if you were to go into a store and buy a red Jasper something, you know. Jaspers tend to be polished in cabochon shapes, which are basically your ovals or your hearts or squares, but they're a low domed shape. See, so we're doing okay here. Getting color on. I'm kind of mixing up my directions a little bit on this to make sure that I don't end up with just hard circle, circle, circle going on here. We don't want that to happen. And I am going to grab that Tuscan red. It's a very browny red. And I'm going to put some lines in here. Jaspers grow a lot of times in layers because they're in sediment. So like layers of mud that happened over a long, long time. Layers and layers. There we go. I think that's probably all I want to put at that. And right now it looks a little, I don't know, a little color book. I'm going to take my Indigo and darken up those layers, just those little lines in between. I'm not getting rid of all of that Tuscan red. I'm just putting this in alongside of it. We'll be coloring over the top of all of this. There we go. We'll be coloring over the top of it. I'm going to take the Scarlet Lake now. And I'm actually going to bring that right over some of these spaces. Right over some of those lines and in some of these areas that I've got 3 colors already. I like having that bright yellow on the bottom layer because then it can poke through and it will give warmth to the stone. It gives you some highlight color. It's one of those things, it's kind of hard to go back all the way down to that pure yellow if you don't have it to begin with. If you try to put that color in after you've already got all your reds and brownie tones and things like that, you can't get that bright white or bright yellow highlight. You just can't get it. It just doesn't come through. Now I'm going to take the colorless blender here and really meld these colors together. The neat thing about Jaspers is that they take a very nice shine. They are opaque. Light does not shine through them. Light reflects off of them. You don't end up with interior light bouncing around. So you have to work on giving it places for highlights to run. Look at the difference between this area here where I've used the colorless blender and these areas here right now that I haven't. How much of a difference it is. So now I'm going to go ahead and pull that colorless blender up here. And as I work it through, you're going to see these huge changes in the color. Now I'm not going straight over my yellow right now because my pencil, my colorless blender, is all contaminated with the orange and the red. And I don't want to completely lose all of my yellow. I will come back in a minute after I'm done doing all of this other stuff, like that. And I'm just going to use this piece of paper right here, and I'm just going to go ahead and roll the pencil off. Now if you see, it's a nice clean tip. I'm just going to hit that yellow and hit that yellow, and now I'm going to pull it across. But I'm not going to pull that orange into my yellow. I'm going to push it away from it. So I'm starting on the yellow, and I'm going to push away and then clean my pencil. And now I'm just going to come up here and run it around. I'm going right over those fissure lines, those bands that are in it. There we go. Look at that. Ooh. And now I am going to take some of that white, my white pencil, and I want to lay an edge of this white in. It's going to give that sort of dull sheen along the edge. You see how it has that dull, dull sheen? I'm going to do the same thing on this edge over here. I'm going to bring it up a little bit higher though. Just giving it a little bit of shape. See, look at that. A little bit of shape. We'll bring it up a little higher even. And I don't mind that I've gone across those lines. It just blurs it out a little bit. Now I want a little bit more of this Tuscan red in here. This Tuscan red, it gives me a little bit more depth, a little more depth of color. It's still a red. And if you Google Jasper and you look it up, you're going to see so many different colors. There's reds and orange and yellow and green, and very, very rarely there's a blue Jasper too. Look at that. All right. And folks, we're almost done with this part of the video. We're going to get right into doing a quick doodle. Now I'm just taking that colorless blender again and just working that dark color into it just a bit. Just a bit so that we have a smooth transition of colors. And I want tiny, tiny bit of this indigo blue right around the edge. Not a lot. I am going to take my black pen, but I just want a smidge of it in here and a little bit more white. Maybe even a little touch of white up in here next to that yellow. Not going through the yellow, but just a touch of it up here in the middle. Just to smooth it out, just a tiny bit. Just a tiny bit. Okay, and now we're going to grab that. Now we're going to grab our black pen and do our doodle. So since this is a cabochon, I am just going to put a bezel, which is basically just your band that goes around the stone, like that. And I did go quite a distance out away, so I think I am going to bring a little bit of color into that open space, just a smidge, just a tiny bit. And the white to just blend it down. There we go. Look at that. Easy peasy. Easy peasy. And now I'm going to take a second little line right around my circle. And you notice my line is wobbly. I'm not worried about that. Remember, it's a doodle. It's not meant to be, you know, fine art. I'm not making a piece of jewelry that I'm going to wear. Although I could make a piece of jewelry to wear with this. This is just about the right size to cut out and put into a one of those glass cabochons. And if I were doing that, I would not put any highlights in there. Oh my goodness, I forgot the highlights. Ooh, pencils, stop moving. All right, let's get those highlights in there. Let's bring this gem alive. So we're going to just put a little highlight here, sort of around the edge. Look at that, looks like a smiley face with little dimples. And then up here, by that highlight that I had put in with the white, I'm just going to put a little tiny bit. There we go. There we go. That's better. And now, slide those pencils out of the way. And we are going to do a quick, fun setting. I like that teardrop leaf shape. It just fits going around things so nicely. And I'm using an 08 for my pen, so it's not quite as fine of a pen as I'm used to. I just happened to have this one near me and picked it up and started using it, and then realized, oh my goodness, it is a wee bit on the big and juicy side. That's okay. Made it all the way around. Look at that. Okay, we're going to go ahead and, because it's something that I do, I like my little center line, and then either 1 or 2 or 3 dots. This time it looks like it's going to get 1 dot. If I didn't take the line as long, I would probably put 2 dots. And you notice I wasn't worried about that I only did 1 of those like that. No big deal. Lots of fun. So now I'm going to go around. I'm just going to do a general outline following the shape, but not really tight. Not really tight to the lines. There we go. Sorry, getting my hand in your way. It's always easier to pull the pen than it is to push the pen. There we go. And then I think we're going to do sort of a little U shape, upside down U shape, almost a circle, half, 3/4 circles, half circles, something like that. I just have it going over that little valley between the leaves. A little valley between the leaves. And one more. And then I think I'm going to go inside of them. There we go. Zoom, zoom, zoom. Quick and easy, fun doodle. We don't have to think really hard about it. This is something to relax. Let your brain just sort of go with the flow. Go with the flow. If you get the idea of something else that you would like to try, please follow your own intuition. Follow your own mind's suggestions. I'm going to do another petal layer in between the petals. Sort of starting on the top of one and working around. But it's offset. So it's offset from the little loops that I had done the first time there. A little offset. I have 2 petals coming off the top of each of the mountain before. Nothing hard. Now what I want to do, I'm going to make this look a little more lacy, or a little more like individual flowers with ginormous centers. I'm just doing bumpity bumps around that last row that I had done. So each layer seems to make this more and more intricate, but if you notice, none of these moves are hard. This is not like going to an advanced yoga class where they do moves that are hard. This one is easy. If you notice, pretty much almost all of our shapes are the same shape. This little half circle loop with a half circle loop with a half circle loop with little tiny half circle bumps. You know, we're repeating the same shape. It gives it a sense of continuity, a sense of it's the same general piece. And by having all of these shapes repeating, it just gives you a peaceful feeling. It's not it's not jarring. That's what I want to get to. It's not jarring. Now I'm just giving it these little center lines, kind of like the leaves. Kind of like the leaves. And then I think we're going to go do that little outline thing again. We're just going to outline the whole design with a loose flowing outline around the whole design. Look at that. Remember, this is easy. It's don't get all hung up on if it's looking just like mine, because it's not supposed to. I do say this in every single episode. Your doodle looks like your doodle. It's being done by your hand, not my hand. It's being done with your heart and your love. And I'm done. I'm not coloring this doodle this time. I kind of like the look of this black and white with the colored gem. If you like doing this doodle with me, please click the like. If you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe so that you'll have notification when new videos come up. And if you know anyone who would be interested in learning how to do these gems, please share the video with them. Share it with your groups. Share it with your friends. Share it on your social media. And if you have any suggestions for stones or gems that you would like me to try, please make sure and leave that in the comments below with any other suggestions that you might have also. And as always, go out and do something creative. Thank you and take care. Going down like this. Basically feathers around his eyes. That's going to make the whole thing. Look at that. Feathers around his eyeballs, his eye orbs.